All right, welcome to The Explainer. You know, sometimes the most fascinating things are the ones that make absolutely no sense at first glance. And today, we're diving into a source that is, well, on the surface, it's just a few repeated words. But what they represent, it tells us a surprising amount about how we communicate online. So let's see if we can crack this little code together.
Okay, here it is. This is our source material, the whole thing. Just take a second and look at that. It honestly reads like a computer glitch, right? Or maybe some kind of weird experimental poetry. What could this possibly mean? Because, see, this isn't just some random text I pulled from the internet. Nope, this is the official auto-generated transcript from a video. And the kind of video it's from is what makes this so incredibly strange. We're about to dig into a real mystery here. That huge, jarring gap between what a piece of content promises and what it actually gives you. So where did our bizarre little quote come from? Get this, a YouTube channel called Easy Hairstyles. Right away, that sets a pretty clear expectation, doesn't it? You're thinking, okay, simple, clear, step-by-step instructions, easy. And it gets even more specific. The video itself is titled Top 10 New Bun Hairstyles for Wedding Party, Bridal Hairstyles. I mean, this isn't some vague artistic video. It's a list, it's a tutorial, it's a guide for a really specific high-stakes event. The promise could not be any clearer. So just pause for a second. If you clicked on that video, what would you expect the narrator to say? You know, probably things like, first you're going to gather the hair into a high ponytail, or next make sure you secure that bun with bobby pins. You'd expect actual descriptive language, right? But that is not what you get. Not even close. You get this. The entire audio track, the complete guide to creating 10 different bridal hairstyles, is just this rhythmic, repetitive phrase. The gap between what you expected and what's real is just massive, and honestly, it's kind of baffling. So to really understand just how wide that gap is, let's break down exactly what that title was offering us. We kind of have to set up a baseline before we can figure out what on earth is really going on here.
I mean, think about how concrete these promises are. That title isn't just a suggestion, it's practically a contract. It implies a clear structure, right? A tutorial, 10 separate parts. It promises step-by-step instructions communicated with clear, descriptive words, all for a wedding. It's selling clarity and precision.
Okay, so we have this super clear promise on one side and a completely abstract reality on the other. Now, it's easy to just dismiss the transcript as, I don't know, nonsense, a mistake by the algorithm, but what if it isn't? What if we treat it like a code? Let's try to find the logic that might be hiding inside all that repetition. And this is the key question right here. If the words themselves aren't telling you how to do it, then what is? We have to shift our thinking completely away from language and start thinking about other ways people communicate. What else could be going on?
Okay, I think there are a few ways we can look at this. First, it could be what I'd call a procedural rhythm. Think of it like the soundtrack to the action itself. The sound of hands working, almost like a little beat that goes along with the visuals. Second, maybe it's a meditative mantra. The point isn't instruction. It's creating a calm, almost ASMR-like vibe. And third, maybe it's a minimalist command. Do so is, in a weird way, a super simple version of do it like this. A repeated, almost hypnotic instruction. Okay, now we can start connecting the dots. We've got the clear promise from the title, and we've got these potential interpretations of the unusual audio. The key to bridging this whole gap, I think, is shifting our focus away from the promise of words to the reality of performance.
And here it is. Here's the core disconnect side by side. The expectation was for 10 different styles, super clear instructions, a verbal explanation. But the reality? It was one continuous rhythm, abstract sounds, and, really, a meditative performance. The video delivered an experience, not an explanation. The communication wasn't verbal at all. It was purely audiovisual.
So, the crucial point here is, the tutorial is still there. It's just not where we expected to find it. The instruction isn't in the transcript, it's in the visual actions on the screen. And the sound is just there to create a mood and a rhythm to follow. The meaning is baked into the doing. Believe it or not, this one strange little video is actually a perfect window into a much bigger trend.
So, what does this surreal hairstyle tutorial really teach us about the new ways we're all creating and consuming information online?
Well, it introduces us to this idea of ambient content. This is content that's less about directly telling you something and more about creating a vibe, a mood, an atmosphere. Think of those lo-fi study beats or long videos of rain hitting a window pane. This hairstyle tutorial, it's basically an ambient tutorial.
So, what are the big takeaways from all this? Well, for one, we're seeing the rise of purely visual, nonverbal instruction. We're learning about the hidden power of sound and rhythm to guide our actions, even in a how-to video. It really shows that we as an audience are incredibly good at finding meaning, even when there are no literal words. And this all points to this quiet emergence of what you might call ambient learning. And that brings us right back to our central idea. After all this analysis, the simplest explanation is often the most powerful one. The tutorial wasn't a script meant to be read. It was a performance meant to be felt. The audio wasn't explaining the action. It was the sound of the action.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. In a world that's just drowning in text, tweets, and transcripts, this bizarre little video asks us a pretty profound question, actually. How much meaning are we missing simply because we expect it to be spoken, when really it's being performed right in front of our eyes?